did you notice that the actor in this thing is called Tom Ryder?
Yes.
And he is supposed to really be Tom Cruise. So you have Ryder, Cruise. Ryder, Cruise.
Oh, right. No, I noticed that the intention, but I hadn't noticed the names yet. Ryder, driver, Cruise. Why not? Why not? Yeah.
Yep. And it didn't even bother to change his first name to Tim. So just made it left at Tom.
Yeah. Well, so many guys called Tom. Tom, Dick, and Harry.
But he's not. This Mr. Ryder is not doing his own stunts, which is the point of the story, isn't it? Because he's not doing his own stunts.
Yeah, and then they have this magazine cover that says "does all his own stunts" as a quote. That's "I do all my own stunts." They are poking fun at all of these things that have all been
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
This bullshit.
This thing is so full of in jokes and funny things, and I personally think when I was looking at this, I was going. So they are actually. The film is actually filmed in Australia because of Marvel movies they have now in Australia. They have a lot of stuff. They have this stuff now. So they wanted, I suppose they wanted to do something with it. And I think what they did was they got everybody from the special effects department and the stunt department together and said, make a list of every crazy thing you haven't done yet, but you'd like to do.
Yeah.
And then they took that list and then they wrote a film.
Yeah.
What I also noticed is when you have like a stunt-driven movie, that's usually does big stunt and then there's a little bit of plot scenes and there's a little stunt, and the stunts they have something to do with the story, but not all that much. And here I didn't feel like that. It felt very natural that yes, he goes running after somebody and then he ends up in a scrape of some sort, but it was because it made sense.
And the running after somebody when he just runs off that pier is like, oh no, not jumping that, I'm going another way, and then they start shooting at him. It's like he has to run off that pier anyway. But that is brilliant writing, because oh yeah, there's a pier, of course he's going to jump over it, but let's give him a reason to actually jump over it. Yeah. So they were quite
It was smartly.
Smart, yes.
It was smartly written in that way that yes, that made sense. Yeah. There was no gratuitous stunts.
No, and everything had a purpose, and the story just kept going. Yes, why would you actually get the stunt guy to start hunting down your actor? Well, but if we did that, then at least he has something to run around. Because in the original Fall Guys series, he was a bounty hunter as well as a stuntman.
Yeah,
in this
is a weird thing, yeah.
Yeah, in this case, he's just a stuntman, and he's still the same Colt. So they are doing homages to the old stuff. It's like he sort of gets bamboozled into doing sort of private eye work.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing gets out of hand because there is a murder involved in that as well. So
and he's completely inept as an investigator. He's not an investigator at all. He's just a stuntman.
He has two objectives. One is to do the stunts that he is trying not to do, and the other one is to get the girl. Who's not a girl, she's a woman. But Jody by Emily Blunt.
Yeah, that's
I thought she was excellent.
Emily Blunt is such a wonderful actress, but you don't always notice her. She kind of and this
one you notice her.
Yeah, good thing you notice her, but she can very much play like the wallflower, and then in to the point that you don't notice her, which is a shame because she's a really good actress. We've seen her in a couple of different things, and she was always bloody wonderful.
Yeah, she's great. She is one of those actresses that stands there and you believe that she's a real woman.
Yes.
Rather than, everything is
just a put up act.
Yeah. Too plasticky, and this is like she's like more realistic.
And here she plays this aspiring director, and then later she actually is the director, and you can see how a person like that could be on a set and then call out commands and get this done. It's very believable.
Yeah. Yeah, originally I think she was supposed to be not a director at all. It was more of a female-coded job. I forget, I'm blanking on what it was now, but it was something much more female-coded. And somebody, possibly the director David Leitch, or the writer, Drew Pearce, they probably got together and said, no, we're in the 2020s now. She's going to be the director. She's going to be kick ass. And it's fun because he has to do everything she says.
That scene where
she keeps on going with the burning of the... and then eventually everybody, all the stuntmen are sitting down in all their gear and they're just handing the mic over and answering all these personal questions. It's like, yeah, but my wife... Oh, wait, it's not about my wife. No, it's so nice. I love movies like this. It's upbeat. It is fun. It's more romancing the stone than we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, but the one thing that I really liked about this movie is that romancing the stone, it has its place, but it's 1980.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long time ago.
It's 40 years. 40 years ago. Yeah. Here, one of the themes when the story starts, he breaks his back. Oh. And then he's...
Oh my God.
And the way he reacts to that and he pushes her away and all these things, what he's showing is a very, very beautiful example of toxic masculinity. And what happens and I mean, he loses his girl and he finds himself in a hole. And just showing that these are the things that you need to do to emancipate people, is to first you start with showing the problem, and then and not even sometimes getting you the solution to the problem. They actually did come up with a solution. He worked himself out of it by using his brain and realizing that he is the one who's creating his own masculine toxicity.
He's creating his own prison. He alienated himself from her.
And he is the one who can say, I'm not doing that anymore, and I'm opening up and I'm letting her in.
And it's the storyline is all about those thumbs up. Because that's the big one. He fell and he thinks he made a mistake. But actually that was enemy action. But
it doesn't really matter.
No, but he has to deal with it anyway. So he's dealing with it as he was taught to deal with it, as a strong, silent man. Never bother
basically,
a woman with that kind of stuff.
The only option is that
thumb. And she calls out, I hate that thumb. She's like, stop doing that thumb. Because he's doing it with everything. He says, yeah, but there's no moment where you, even if you're completely in a mess, you will still do that little thumb out of the side of the car that everybody is... But they could still be carting him off to the hospital after that thumb.
The thumbs up basically means he's not dead. But the thing is, he has to let her help him when he's in between the thumbs up and the thumbs down moment, when he's sort of like that. That's when he has to let somebody in, and he has to learn that.
It's like, okay, there's thumbs up, I'm alive, but... help. And these stuntmen, they do get hurt. I can't believe that they don't get hurt, because a lot of these stunts are literally, it is what you see, even though you go, oh, but it's a stunt guy. Yeah, but he did actually fall over that car and get rolled down the highway.
But he says it. He says it. Yeah. He says it when she actually asks him, when you're doing it for the fourth time, is that okay? He says, yeah, it bloody hurts, but that's part of the job. Yeah. It hurts, but it's part of the job.
Yeah, but it hurts. And how long can you keep that up?
When is the point where you say, I have to... Mm-hmm. And what I see for the future for them at the end of this movie, when they ride off together. It's a happy family.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. They ride off together, but he cannot keep doing this forever.
No.
He has to, as much as that she progressed from assistant director to director, and then she to onwards to that, he has to progress from stuntman to stunt coordinator to stunt bobo to stunt.
He could start stunt classes. He could be on set. He could be the safety stunt guy.
You can't do it forever. No. It is not a forever kind of job, and that goes for stunt manning, for sports, for ballet, all these things. things are not forever jobs.
Yeah. You know it in high-end sports that there is an age limit. But about this type of work, nobody talks about it.
The weird thing about stunts, stunt and stand-in, stand-ins and stunts. Stunt is a little bit a stand-in job because you need to get somebody who is roughly the same size, but it needs all types. Because if you're doing a stand-in for you, it would not be a big burly guy. Yeah. It would be a petite lady, or a guy who could fit in the petite lady kind of thing.
And I want to say Velton Ray Bunch, but I may have the name wrong, of Quantum Leap, which I was heavily into Quantum Leap. So I saw interviews with all of them, and he said that in all his so many years, decades in the stunt world, he has never had to use a man to be a stunt person for a woman. He's always found somebody who is actually the same gender and then therefore can do that.
Yeah, but you still need the size thing. So there's always in stunts there's always going to be a varied demand for stunt people, and so I mean, age will be a factor and actually limited factor, but being a little guy or even a big guy, it's all possible as long as you're willing to do all the really hard work and take it on the head sometimes. Yeah. And there is a limit to it, and there's an end to that.
Yeah, there's a documentary about the stunt woman of Xena, Warrior Princess, and they just had, because they did so many stunts, they had a separate filming team, and they would just film full time with her. But they were extremely careful with the stunt woman. They had 2 stunt women, and the second one I think did 3 seasons, and that's the one who got interviewed. And she said she never thought that she was going to be doing this work, but she loved it. But they were like, for every setup and for once the stunt was done, they checked everything out. They checked her out. They made sure. And you do have to do it several times. You try to do it as little as possible.
And the thing about a stunt is when you see it on the movie, when somebody jumps off a building, and we see we see the final result, but they've done it like 7 times. And you as the people who making movies now, and they've been doing it for over 100 years in stunt working, more than 100 years, like from 1890s on stunts, jumping off things, is that it looks absolutely awful to read in the paper, stunt person died in doing stunts. The last one that happened, I think, was probably a James Bond movie, is people still talking about it. It was the 1970s or the 80s. No. We don't want that anymore. No. So they're extra careful. And then if it's a stunt person who's really good at their job and they have exactly the right thing, they're going to be treating them like gold and only take them out when you absolutely need them.
Yeah. Because they need to be treated as carefully as they do their lead actors and actresses. The stunt they did, that was the one that she wanted to get across that beach. 8.5 time roll.
Yeah.
So that was one of the records they set in this movie. They had 4 records. I don't know the other ones, but this was one. And they did it live. They did it live, this is the one that they wanted to do, and they actually did get the record.
Yeah, but
and you can see it. It is one take.
It's one take,
yes.
But I do know, because I did watch not for this one, but for lots of Bond movies. There are a lot of documentaries about how it was made. But when they do like a stunt, when the car rolls over inside, this car in the inside is built completely different than any other car. They have like the center point at the middle. They do a lot. And I think probably this one is not quite showing it the way that is supposed to go. But
the interior shots would be different shots than the exterior shots, because he has to be in it, and Ryan Gosling was not in that car. The previous record for this tumble thing was Casino Royale,
James Bond.
And I would imagine that a lot of records are actually set by James Bond, because that is the stunt movie of the era, really.
Yeah. One of the things that I've learned from watching people talking about stunts is that, yes, especially when you have like a physical stunt like that, and you try to organize everything, that's impossible. So what they do is very smartly organize what cannot be organized. The preset what cannot be organized. So this 8.5 turn, they probably set it up for 6 or more. And if it goes more, they'll be happy. And it did. Yeah. But you leave the room to do that. But they set up the 6. And then the rest comes, hopefully. And maybe it would have been 9.5. But you never know.
You don't know.
They made sure.
We won't know now.
They just made sure that they have the beach for it. But and these stunts, and I know this, these usually they can do them like once or maybe twice. Yeah. But usually once.
This is not the kind of stunt that you do multiple times. Also,
and you make the best of it.
They put so many cameras everywhere. With the Supernatural season 1 ends with the car that they drive, the Impala, they gets crashed against an oncoming truck. And they had set up, they could only do it once because you have the Impala and it can only get trashed once. The truck, you could get multiple trucks, but they could only do it once, so they set up 7 or 8 camera angles. All of them failed except for the one that was on the road in front of them. So you have the whole thing coming to you, which is really, really cool. And it just slides towards the camera. And I assume that the camera got whisked away with that as well. But you have the footage of before that. So yeah, set up a lot of cameras. And we know about this because we set up a lot of cameras for just this. And there's no stunt involved, nothing. Yeah. Every once in a while we do a special effect.
But not today.
Not today, but we have done. Easter eggs for you to find. Another thing I found funny about this movie is that Tom Ryder was probably cast to fit, because he's the actual, sorry, his name is Aaron Taylor Johnson. That actor was probably cast to play Tom Ryder because he looks like Ryan Gosling, who plays Colt. And Colt is the stuntman, so now you have to have the main actor, nominally, has to be cast to fit the stuntman rather than the reverse.
Yes.
Which is very, very funny.
Yeah. If you're going to watch the movie and you haven't seen it yet, make sure that you stay beyond the final credits, because there is a little bit of extra. Stay.
They are trying to use this movie as well to bring to the more public interest that there is not an Academy Award for stunts.
Yes.
And that is, of course, ridiculous. That there ought to be, because this is mainstay. If you take all of the 80s, how could you have made any of the films without stunts? And
look, from the very first time they started filming, they jumped off of buildings and did stunts. Yeah. And the only difference from
wing to wing in the air on dual planes, like what?
Without, maybe a line, but I wouldn't take a bet on it.
I mean, no.
Yeah, they do need that, and they've been trying to make less Academy Awards statues, but I think this
needs to happen. Yeah. Great movie. I loved it. I had a really good time. I think it's accessible for everybody.
Yeah, this is fun. If it's still in the cinema, go to the cinema. It wasn't scary or anything. It's just a good romp. It's a good old-fashioned romp.
Yeah, and all the cast is good.
Yeah,
cinematography is good. There's a couple of what they call, I think, onesies or one shots, and it starts with one where he walks and he's on the phone, and so the camera follows him until they strap him into this thing and they push him off the ledge. That was a 4-minute one shot. And I'm like, okay, they're still following him. It's no cut. They're still following him. And Ryan Gosling knew that this was an actual stunt he was going to do himself. And I knew it as well. So it's like, they're not just going to do it, but they're going to let him act for 4 minutes before they drop him down 12 stories. Hello.
Yeah, but that's his job.
Yes.
But wow. If you're a film student, I think this film is full of these Easter eggs of pan shots and these continuous shots and 50
And
other
references.
references and
Yeah.
50 other shots. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can't even start on all the references. It's just endless. It's all if you've seen the stuff from the 80s onwards, you've seen action movies, it's all in there. So many thumbs up.
Yes.
Recommendation?
Yeah, that's
Go watch.
Go watch, and that's my opinion.
And my opinion.
And
we're sticking to it.